I'm now going to put the spotlight on Ather Energy, which is riding into new cities. It has plans for pan-India. Remember, you recently heard about Ather Energy when it got backed by Sachin Bansal himself, as well as Hero MotoCorp. We've got the founder, Tarun Mehta, now joining us right here on Startup Central. Tarun, Happy New Year. A new decade, a new year. Clearly, you're riding in, excited with your new plans. Take our viewers through it. I know that entering new cities is, of course, just a part of it.
Yeah, so we've been out in the market for the last 1.5 years with Ather 450, and there's been a terrific amount of feedback that we have had. We've built up a very strong community of very, very engaged users, potential like future users, pre-order customers, everybody. And what we've been really doing over this time period is learning from them, engaging with them, and trying to understand what really works for a customer on the road, right? Or what are the features that really make sense to them? What can we do better? What specs can we improve on? So we've been factoring a lot of that in. We've been opening cities slowly. We opened up Bangalore back in 2018, and we opened Chennai only like 5-6 months back. Because we wanted to make sure that our SOPs are robust, our charging infrastructure is figured out, and most importantly, the product quality constantly keeps improving. We find ourselves in a place where, with that input, we can now build a better, we can build a new evolution, a new version of Ather 450, and with that, we think we are good to scale across the country.
You know, this 450X is, of course, sometimes called the super scooter. Is it indeed a super scooter? What's so super about it?
A lot of stuff. Internally, we always say, as a newcomer in this industry, we better build stuff that others don't even have a spec to compare with, right? So speed, acceleration, performance, that's all the good stuff. But there's been a lot of focus on the software side, the smarts and the intelligence of the vehicle. That was there, right, even with the first version. We were the first ones to have a 7-inch touchscreen, navigation built right into the vehicle, and a lot of features like document storage, everything. Now we've been, I think, able to upgrade a lot of those features, a lot of new tracking, a lot of new data that's coming out. So there's a lot in store when we announce this. It's an almost pretty much everything on Ather 450.
So as you enter new cities, you've been planning to refuel with another fundraise. You've been planning to open new factories, etc. Tell the viewers of ET now how much this super scooter is going to cost them.
Leave me something to announce, do my launch with, right? So we'll announce the price later this month. We'll announce the detailed specs and features later this month. Not right.
Okay. I tried. I've got to ask. Now, I have to ask you another question. Since our last interview that you gave to ET Now, what we have seen is Rajiv Bajaj invest in Yulu. You've, of course, got Hero MotoCorp. Are we seeing these traditional automakers, the auto giants, the promoters of auto companies now slug it out through you guys? Are you fighting the proxy war of Bajaj and Hero?
That would be a fun answer again, if I said yes. First of all, Yulu is a fantastic company, but what Yulu does and what we do are such different things in the value chain. Yulu is building last mile connectivity with its systems. We are building the vehicles. We are building the infrastructure. Right? So we do very different companies. And I think generally as a trend, what you're seeing makes a lot of sense, right? Because I have a genuine lot of respect for what the Indian two-wheeler companies have been able to build, because unlike many other industries, the Indian two-wheeler companies are some of the genuine giants on the global landscape, right? We're one of the largest exporters, fantastic prices, great ecosystem, everything. So it makes sense that a lot of our existing incumbent OEMs are able to see the future, and they're investing in companies like ours. I think it's hard to sort of build out something this different with this new technology in an existing environment. So it makes sense to invest in a new company.
So there is synergy over there, like, for example, we saw Mahindra doing it with Zoom cars. So we are seeing this whole thing take place, though I don't know what you're talking about, only last mile connectivity, because Yulu talks about the Yulu miracle, and the two-wheeler, it's going to be...
So the difference is Yulu, while obviously they do control the design and everything a lot, Yulu is not the manufacturer of that equipment. Yulu is not an OEM. Yulu is a mobility provider. So in the value chain, we really sit in two different parts. In fact, who knows, a company like us could could be partnering with a company like Google sometime, right? But we do different companies in two different parts of the value chain.
चलो, so जैसे ना हमारा बजाज, हमारा Ather, हमारा Yulu. Okay, but jokes aside, now tell us, you're going to, of course, be an OEM. You want to set up factories, you want to roll out these scooters, the price of which you will not tell us, these super scooters. How is all of that panning out? And, the pre-orders, I believe you've already started?
Yeah, so we began. So this time we're doing things a little differently than the first time in the Bangalore and Chennai launch. So over the last 18 months, the community has grown. The community of the online community that we have has grown quite a lot. There are thousands of active users on it. Like the chat rooms are full all the time, and these guys have been like so active and so vocal with the feedback that we think we can't probably find better customers. So this time, even before we did the launch, what we did is we opened up access to these people to pre-order the vehicle early. The idea was we want to make sure that these are the first customers, because with engaging with them is the best way to build out a product and bring it out. So we've opened up pre-orders not for everybody. We have sent out invites only to these set of people, and we've shared some extra invites with them for them to invite more people, their friends, people like them. Right? We want to make sure that the community grows organically before we are ready for like massive scale. So we've sent out invites right now.
So while you're sending out invites, there have been certain news reports that you've received proposals from like almost 1,000 dealerships in 130 cities. Now, for your super scooter to be an immense success, it has to have supporting infrastructure as well, right? So realistically speaking, how many cities can you be in? And are you facing this problem where you may have to hold back your expansion plans based on the infrastructure?
So obviously, we'll learn a lot this year, but that's actually precisely the reason for almost 15, 18 months. We've been investing in better processes, better systems, and learning from the market. So this year, we've opened up pre-orders across the country. And with literally just first day of pre-orders that we received, we've been able to shortlist 6 cities where we can confirm we are going to be commencing deliveries in. And we have already selected 4 more cities where we think we should be able to commence deliveries, but we are waiting for more interest to come in, right? Just on the dealership side, like the interest is phenomenal. Like you're right, more than 1,000 dealer inquiries already. People have submitted details. Over the last few years, more than 3,000 people have reached out to us, and we gave them no way to sort of engage with us. The experience center model that we have, where you can walk in, take a test ride, see your data, understand the connected vehicle experience, we think that's replicable with good retail partners across the country. Now, can it go to like 5 cities, 10 cities, 100 cities? I think we'll learn. But right now, we've been able to announce 6 cities already.
I want to also ask you, the next 30 days is going to be so crucial for you. I think you highlighted that in your first answer. How has life changed since your last fundraise, since you got refueled by Sachin Bansal as well as Hero Moto?
So I think our last fundraise, which was a Series C, is one of those stages where I think honestly, we've started becoming more of a business now. In the past, I think realistically, we were really a large design house, right? We were building this fantastic product. We were designing. We've gotten 350 engineers in the company, right? All going crazy, building better and better, crazier stuff. I think with the last fundraise, like one of the big targets that we had was to, if this product is working, we better now start scaling this up, right? We better start really growing our top line. So Series C for us, and we've been saying this for a year now, Series C for us was always going to be about scale, and that's what the money is being put to use for.
Now, Tarun, I've got to ask you this question. You've got some really marquee investors, Sachin Bansal, you've got Tiger Global, you've got Hero MotoCorp. Have you ever been in a spot where investors have disagreed on the future path, and what do you do then?
There's so many tactical details that, a lot of people will have views and they will not always be the same. But directionally, what the company is chasing, how it should be chasing it, I think I'm honestly I think we're a little lucky that like the board's been a fantastically aligned board, because all of us, everybody who's put money into Ather, right from the first angel investors to our CVC folks, they've all known that this is us building something which is like a 20, 30-year journey, right? Though we have financial investors, honestly, most of them, and we've had the fortune that they've been able to really think like almost like a strategic investor, almost like very, very long-term patient capital. So details, obviously, one can differ on, but how the company should grow, the fact that we can be the largest EV company in the country, we can build a fantastic brand, that we can differentiate by building a premium product in a country like India. I think there's been tremendous alignment on this always.
Tarun, what's also very commendable is that you are also building something, you're manufacturing something, and it's not just an app or a digital product. You're actually physically building an electric vehicle, right? A super scooter, as you might want to call it at the moment. So you're in that sense very different from a lot of startups that we see, which also means that for what you're doing, you may have a more of a legitimate case to burn cash, right? As opposed to others, which may be just aggregating assets. Does that become a problem when you go out for fundraise and investors and the valuation and all of that?
I've had a lot of time to think about this over the years, and I'll differ a little bit. So, yes, somebody in hardware, somebody in manufacturing, doing the kind of stuff that we do, will burn more capital. But the thing is, if you think of in absolute terms, you will notice that hardware startups will actually end up burning far lower capital by the time they're successful and scaled out than a lot of companies in the internet domain. Because the barriers to entry with a hardware startup are just phenomenally high, right? Like you will not find that if there is a Series B or a Series C funded startup at, let's say, $100 million, they have 3, 4, 5 clones at like $20, $25 million already, right? Replicating the exact same business model, present in just tier 2 towns of this guy's in tier 1 town. It's very hard because there's years worth of technology, IP development, all of this going in, right? So the barriers to entry are very high, which means once you get to a product that has product market fit, you have a reasonable amount of free run to start scaling that massively, right? Like competition is not going to drag you into a price war very easily. Unless you're building a commodity product, in which case the barriers are very low, obviously, right? Now, the difference, however, is that at the starting stages, unlike an internet startup, you can't show revenue very easily, right? You can't show that, listen, give me $10 million, I'll show you $8 million GMV or $15 million GMV, right? Which means there's an engine that gets established with internet startups very early on, right? X investment will give you 2x sort of GMV, and you can just sort of keep scaling that up. So that's not available for the first few years. So that's where the hard part is, right? Like to crank up the engine into full gear takes a little bit of time. But once it is there, the moats and the barriers to entry are really, really high.
And with that, Tarun, I'm going to thank you for joining us here on Startup Central, for being so candid. Here's wishing you all the very best for the next set of announcements. And here's inviting you to come back on Startup Central when you can share more.
Thank you. It was good talking to you.